So basically, one of the questions a lot of people have been asking over the past several days, if you will, if not the past week, is what is Trump talking about when it comes to charging tariffs now for movies made outside the U.S., as well as being imported into the U.S. for theatrical, if not streaming view? Well, it's real simple. You see, no matter how you view the guy, whether you view him like somebody that should spend the rest of his life in jail, or someone that should be, held responsible for, disrespecting women and all that, depending on how you feel about it, or whether or not you feel like everything being put against him is false, and he's, he's everything he says he's not, and all that. So, basically he's a true American. He didn't do all this stuff. You get the idea. But depending on how you believe it, him, or look at him, I should say, it's obvious that he is a very true, American. He is basically a very patriotic American without a shadow of a doubt. He's the kind of patriotic American that basically believes that if you're going to do a movie, in the U.S., then it primarily, and then, say, well, the locales are going to be elsewhere, then take advantage of what you have in studio. Basically, if you have a big, easy for me to say, big screen, green screen, I should say, not big screen, but big green screen and all that, that basically you should use the technology, at your disposal, use that to create whatever environment you want. Or if you have a backlot that used to be utilized for these kind of situations in the past, use that. That's what he's talking about. Like, if you're primarily making a movie in the U.S., then that's where it needs to be. It needs to be made in the USA. Easy for me to say, if its primary release, first and foremost, is the United States, then it should be made in the United States. It's the same thing he talks about when it comes to cars and all that. That if you're going to, have a car made, or you're going to have a house made, or you're going to have this made, it should be made in the country of origin and distributed in said country of origin. That's his belief. But he also realizes that, okay, if you're going to incorporate, things from other countries, those other countries should be paying for what's coming your way. They should be the ones that pay fairly, or as a bit of a lesson being taught, unfairly, as some people would look at it, for stuff to be migrated over to, the country they're sending it to. That's his belief. It's basically like, okay, you don't want tariffs to be done on movies? Then guess what? Make the movie here in the U.S. Oh, you don't want to have tariffs put on, parts for cars and all that coming to the U.S.? Guess what? Make those parts in the U.S. That's the message he's trying to get across. If you're going to make it, and it's not just for the U.S. either, it's for everybody, that if you're going to make it in your country, then it has to be released in your country. Or let me rephrase that if you're going to release it in your country first, then it should be made in your country and stay there. That's primarily what he's getting at. But he's also saying, look, if you're going to charge tariffs, it should be on an equal basis. Like, if we're going to charge you, if we're going to charge you 50% tariffs, if we're going to charge you, you charge 50%. Equal, even, Steven. That's basically what it is. It's a trade deal. It is basically, we'll trade you this much, for the same amount. There you go. That's basically what the whole situation is. And when it comes to the movie business, it's basically a little different, a little confusing, but I think, in my opinion, these are just my opinions, mind you, I think what he's alluding at, or at least alluding to, is the fact that if part of the movie has to be filmed, like, let's say, in the UK, or in, let's say, Australia, at least for maybe a couple of weeks, and those couple of weeks could be about, let's say, amount-wise, could be about, let's say, 50,000 at most. Probably more than that, but let's just say 50,000. What he's alluding to is that we, the ones doing the film, should not be paying that 50,000. It should be the country that we're going to that pays the 50,000. They basically he's saying hey, if you're okay with them filming part of the movie in your country, no problem, but you're going to front the bill. You're going to front for room and board, and so on. That's what he's getting at. He's basically saying all this equipment and stuff they got to put onto a plane to go to your country, you're going to front the bill. That's what he's saying. But here's the thing too. He's not saying that it should just be exclusive that way. He's also in a way telling you that if you're in another country and part of your film has to be filmed here, then yeah, we'll front the bill, but we'll front it for just as much as you fronted for one of our movies being filmed in your country. So like if a movie is filmed in Australia, like I said, for 50,000, some of the scenes, for a couple of weeks are filmed in Australia for 50,000, and then let's say an Australian film company or studio wants to film parts of the movies here in the U.S., then guess what? We will charge them the same amount. It's called equal trade. That's what it is. And the same with importing movies. It's like, oh, you want this movie? You want this movie to be shown in your country? No problem. No problem. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal, okay? So again, going back to what I said, let's say, what movie is out right now that's big? Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, if you will. Let's say, eventually Japan, well, they probably got it, but let's say eventually another country that has yet to get it, gets it probably within a few weeks. What he's saying is, okay, you want our movie imported over there? No problem. Guess what? You have to pay $25,000 for it. $25K. And then if we want a movie we feel out of your country is good to be seen here, we'll pay the same amount. That's what he's getting at, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe is the message he's trying to get across. Like if you're going to charge, like if we're going to go there, you're the one, to film some of the scenes for a movie, you're fronting the bill for everything that's got to go across over to your country and back. And the same with importing films. Like if you want a movie from us, you got to front the bill and vice versa. So that's basically how I think it's working. I know some people feel it's wrong, but basically, again, he's a man that people will look at, and he views himself as a true patriot. And a true patriot, and everybody knows this to be true, is someone that has a strong belief that if you're going to, make a movie or make anything, and release it in a country, that, it's the primary source of income, it should be made in country. It should be made in that house, if you will. That's why he's always talking about cars need to be made in the U.S., houses need to be instructed by materials made in the U.S., and so on and so forth. And again, he understands we need stuff from other countries, but he's saying, look, yes, we'll help you do this, we'll help you do that, but let's make it equal, even Steven, so that nobody loses, everybody wins. So to me, that's what I feel he's getting at, especially when it comes to these movie tariffs. But I could be wrong. Again, I don't know how much is going to be charged to it, but that's the feeling I get. That's the belief I get, if you will. That mainly what this really is trying to make things equal, on both fronts, whether people believe that or not. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. What do you think is, the reasoning, and what do you think potentially could be the amount charged if maybe what I'm speculating, in my opinions, could end up being true? Let me know down below in the comment section, as well as the live chat during the video. Like the video, ring the bell for notification, do all the things in the description to help me out. And until then, I am out.